It all started on a cool autumn evening with leaves rustling in the wind when a group of friends decided to spend the weekend at an abandoned mansion, a long-forgotten relic that loomed large in the town's ghost stories. Rumors swirled about the house, whispers of hauntings and lost souls trapped within its crumbling walls. I remember the thrill coursing through my veins as I joined my friends, Alex, Maria, Tom, and Sarah, each of us fueled by a mix of adrenaline and youthful bravado. The idea of exploring the unknown, of perhaps catching a glimpse of the paranormal, was too enticing to resist. Little did we know that this venture would pull us into a nightmarish ordeal, one that would leave indelible marks on our souls. As we drove through the winding roads leading to the mansion, excitement bubbled over, and we exchanged stories, some spooky, some ridiculous. Maria, with her flair for the dramatic, recounted the legend of the mansion, a family that had mysteriously vanished without a trace, their spirits said to wander the hallways in search of justice, peace, or perhaps just someone to acknowledge their existence. Each tale she told tightened the knot of apprehension in my stomach, but I pushed it aside, convincing myself that we were simply here for a bit of fun. Arriving at the mansion was like stepping into another world. The structure stood ominously against the moonlit sky, its once grand architecture now a shadow of its former self, draped in darkness and decay. Broken windows gaped like empty eyes, watching us as we approached. The air was thick with an unsettling energy, and I felt a shiver run down my spine as we crossed the threshold into the foyer, greeted by the musty scent of rot and abandonment. Dust motes floated in our flashlight beams, and with every step we took, I could feel the weight of forgotten memories pressing down upon us. We quickly made the decision to split up and explore, believing that it would be more exciting that way. Tom and Maria headed toward the grand staircase, while Alex and I ventured down a narrow corridor lined with peeling wallpaper. Sarah lingered behind, capturing the ambience with her camera, her lens a shield against the growing sense of dread that enveloped us. Despite the bravado we wore like armor, I could feel unease creeping in, an instinctual warning urging me to stay close to my friends. Yet, curiosity propelled us forward, deeper into the shadows of the house. As we wandered, the atmosphere shifted. Faint whispers echoed through the hallways, a soft chorus that seemed to rise from the very walls themselves. At first, we dismissed it as the wind, but the air grew heavier, thick with an unseen presence. The walls seemed to close in around us, and I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. It's just an old house, I told myself, forcing a nervous laugh to break the tension. But inside, a voice warned me that this place was alive, and it wasn't happy with our intrusion. Then came the scream, Tom's voice, high-pitched and filled with terror. My heart dropped, and panic surged through me as Alex and I raced back to where we had last seen them. Tom, Maria, we shouted, the echo of our voices swallowed by the oppressive silence. It felt like the very air had turned against us. We reached the staircase and found it empty, a hollow reminder of the joy we had felt just moments ago. They can't just disappear, I shouted, desperation creeping into my tone. The mansion was vast, a labyrinth of despair, and I could feel the walls pressing in, suffocating us with an overwhelming dread. Sarah rejoined us, her face pale, eyes wide with fear. They're gone, she gasped, her breath coming in short, sharp bursts. Our group was splintering, and the fear of the unknown gripped me like a vice. Together, we scoured the rooms, calling out for our friends, our voices growing hoarse. Each door we opened revealed more decay, more silence, and the weight of something ancient and resentful hung in the air. In one of the dimly lit rooms, I stumbled upon it, a message scrawled on the wall in what looked like blood. "Don't fear you're dead." The sight sent chills coursing through my body. The letters seemed to pulse with a life of their own, an echo of the anguish that lingered within the house. I felt a cold draft sweep through the room, extinguishing our flashlight beams for a heartbeat, plunging us into darkness. It was a warning, I realized, a plea from the spirits who resided here. We were trespassers in a place steeped in sorrow, and it was time to pay the price. Panic turned to resolve, and we huddled in the main hall, attempting to regroup and devise a plan. The atmosphere thickened, suffocating us as whispers began to swirl around us, rising in intensity. "What do we do?" Alex asked, his voice barely above a whisper. I could feel the fear radiating off him, and the dread settled deeper in my gut. This was no ordinary haunted house. It was a vessel of pain and grief, an echo chamber for souls who had suffered unimaginable loss. In a moment of sheer desperation, we decided to attempt communication with whatever spirits lingered here. Sarah, ever the brave one, suggested we try a seance. It felt foolish, but we had no other options. We formed a circle, holding hands tightly, our flashlight beams creating erratic shadows against the walls. "If anyone is here, we mean you no harm," I called out, my voice shaky but determined. As we spoke, the atmosphere shifted once more, the air crackling with energy, and a chill enveloped us, a tangible presence closing in around us. Suddenly, a figure began to materialize before us. It was ethereal, barely holding shape, yet its anguish was palpable. I could see the sorrow etched on its face, a haunting reminder of a life once lived. It reached out, and I felt an overwhelming sadness wash over me. This wasn't a malevolent spirit. It was a soul seeking recognition, yearning for someone to listen to its story. I found myself captivated, wanting to understand its pain. "Why are you here?" I whispered, my voice trembling. The spirit seemed to hesitate, caught between realms, and then, in a voice that felt like a breeze passing through the cracks in the walls, it conveyed a sense of loss and desperation. I realized then that this spirit was not angry. It was trapped in a cycle of despair, forever tied to the memories of its past. The realization hit me hard. We were intruders, yes, but we were also bearers of the light, capable of offering acknowledgement and compassion. Just as we thought we had reached a breakthrough, the room darkened again. Other ghostly figures began to emerge, revealing themselves as the lost family, their faces twisted with both rage and sorrow. They circled us, a cacophony of mournful wails filling the air, drowning out our attempts to reach out. I felt the weight of their grief, their stories flooding my mind, tales of betrayal, of promises broken, of lives cut short by tragedy. We were not just visitors. We had become part of their narrative, their unresolved pain echoing through the mansion. Panic surged within me as the spirits grew restless, their anguish transforming into chaos. "We mean you no harm," I shouted, desperation lacing my voice. But the spirits were unyielding. their sorrow morphing into fury as they surrounded us, shadows clawing at the edges of our sanity. In that moment, I remembered the words on the wall, "Don't fear your dead." It was time to confront our fears, to acknowledge the suffering that echoed in this house, and to help these lost souls find their peace. We decided to speak to the spirits with compassion, to recognize their pain. "We're sorry for intruding," I began, my voice breaking. "We don't want to hurt you, we want to understand." Alex and Sarah echoed my sentiments, and together, we poured our hearts into our words, reaching out to the spirits, expressing our sorrow for their suffering. As we did, the atmosphere shifted once more. The spirits paused, their rage giving way to a deep sorrow that hung heavy in the air. I felt a connection forming between us, a thread of understanding that transcended the barriers of life and death. "You are not forgotten," I whispered, tears stinging my eyes. "We are here to listen." The spirits seemed to soften, their forms wavering as if caught in a gentle breeze. The room felt lighter, the weight of their grief lifting, and I could see a flicker of hope in their eyes. As the spirits began to fade, I caught a glimpse of Tom and Maria, their faces filled with confusion and relief. "What happened?" Tom asked, his voice trembling with the remnants of fear. We explained everything, the spirits, their stories, and how we had tried to connect. It was as if a veil had been lifted, our earlier panic faded, replaced by a sense of purpose. Together, we resolved to help the spirits find peace, even if it meant confronting our own fears. In the main hall, we gathered once more, closing our eyes, focusing on sending our thoughts to the spirits. We urged them to let go of their pain, to find solace in the light. Gradually, the atmosphere lightened, the oppressive energy that had once weighed us down dissipating. The spirits began to fade, their forms softening as they drifted away, leaving behind a lingering sense of gratitude. "Thank you," a voice whispered in my mind, a gentle echo that filled the void they left behind. As we stood in the now quiet hall, I realized we had faced something monumental. We had confronted our fears, delved into the depths of sorrow, and borne witness to stories that demanded recognition. We left the mansion as dawn broke, the first rays of sunlight spilling into the darkness, illuminating the path ahead. But I knew we were forever changed by the experience. Each of us carried the weight of the night's revelations, a deeper understanding of life, death, and the connections that bind us all. Driving away, I glanced back at the mansion, its once menacing silhouette now appearing almost serene in the morning light. It served as a reminder of the thin veil that separates the living from the dead, of how closely intertwined our lives are with the stories of those who have come before us. We vowed never to disregard the warnings of the past, to honor the memories of the lost, and to recognize that sometimes the stories of the dead deserve to be heard. As we left that haunted place behind, I understood the true meaning of the Spirit's message. Don't fear your dead. Instead, we should embrace the past, respect it, and acknowledge that every ghost has a story to tell. In doing so, we honor their existence and find our own peace amidst the echoes of history. And so, we promise to carry with us to ensure that they were never forgotten as we embarked on a new chapter of our lives, forever marked by the haunting echoes of that fateful night. As the sun began to rise, casting a warm glow over the haunted mansion we had just escaped, I felt a sense of relief mixed with lingering dread. Our experience that night was more than just a ghost story. It was a journey into the unknown, that left us forever changed. If you're captivated by chilling tales like ours, tales of the paranormal, mysteries that defy explanation, and the haunting echoes of history, then you're in the right place. Join our community at Grim Secrets by hitting that subscribe button. Here, we delve deep into the shadows, exploring stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. With every subscription, you become part of a family that shares a passion for the eerie and the unexplained. So, don't miss out. Subscribe now and turn on notifications to unlock a world of grim secrets, where each episode invites you to explore the mysteries that lurk just beyond our sight. Together, let's uncover the chilling tales waiting to be told. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the unknown.